Our minds today are noisier than they've ever been. They never truly stop. Instead of resting, they scroll endlessly. Instead of genuine thinking, they get stuck in repeating cycles. The moment you open your eyes in the morning, you reach for your phone. And even before you take that first breath of the day, your mental space becomes a war zone. It gets flooded instantly with notifications, other people's views, never-ending comparisons, and a mountain of things you think you should be doing. You want to slow things down, but being still doesn't feel natural anymore. You want to concentrate on something, but one thought keeps crashing into another like waves that want to settle. It's not that you don't have peace available to you. The problem is you that lost the ability to reach it. The ancient Stoic philosophers understood this struggle deeply. They didn't have smartphones or social media feeds. Sure, but they dealt with the exact same internal chaos. Marcus Aurelius, who carried the weight of ruling an entire empire on his shoulders, described it as the racket happening inside your head. Epictetus, who started life as a slave before becoming a respected teacher, described it as a mind that hasn't been properly trained. Zeno described it as a thick fog sitting between a person and clear thinking. And Clintes, who worked night shifts hauling water just to earn enough money to study philosophy, described it as a flame that needs to stay steady. This guide pulls from what they learned and applies it to today's world. It shows you how to turn down the noise, take back your ability to think clearly, and finally live with a mind that listens to you instead of controlling you. And before we dive in, if what you rereading here connects with you, please take a second to hit the like button and subscribe. Doing that helps spread these ideas to other people who are walking down the same road you are, people who are also fighting battles with their thoughts that nobody else can see. Now let's start fighting back and taking back what belongs to us. Lesson 1. You are not your thoughts. Epictetus taught that your first taste of real freedom comes from understanding the difference between what belongs to you and what doesn't. He put it simply, some things we can control, and some things we can. The thoughts that pop into your head aren't the instructions you have to follow. They read more like weather patterns moving through your mental space. But the second you treat them like commands, you've given them control over you. You're not an angry person. What is actually happening is that anger is showing up inside you. You're not an anxious person. What is really going on is that anxiety is passing through your system. You're not your constant overthinking. That is just a storm happening inside your awareness, and your awareness is always bigger than whatever storm is passing through. In the world we live in now, putting this into practice is tougher than it's ever been. Every time you scroll, every notification sound, every breaking news headline sets off new thoughts. Your brain jumps into reaction mode, your emotions follow right behind, and before you know it, your mind doesn't belong to you anymore. But here is where the Stoic practice actually starts. In that tiny gap between something happening to you and how you respond to it. When you feel like you're drowning in your own thoughts, try doing this. Tell yourself quietly, this isn't to me. This is just my mind doing its thinking thing. You'll notice a small distance opening up. That right there is freedom showing up. You don't need to make the thoughts disappear. You just need to stop treating them like you are. Overthinking stops the moment you start simply watching it happen. Lesson 2. The age of too much everything. Seneca gave us a warning. Trying to be everywhere means you're really nowhere. He wrote that 2,000 years ago, long before notification alerts and endless scrolling existed. Today, we're living in exactly the world he was afraid of, where we spread our attention so incredibly thin that nothing really touches us in a deep way anymore. We use the word multitasking, but what is really happening is we're slowly wearing away our mental capacity. The never-ending stream of information has become a type of poison that works quietly. You don't scroll because you're genuinely interested in learning something. You scroll because you're running away from something. You keep chasing the latest updates because you're scared of missing something important. But what you're actually missing most is your own actual life happening right in front of you. Seneca's advice was to pull back into yourself regularly, not to escape from life, but to restore yourself. He wrote letters to his friend Lucilius, constantly reminding him to protect his mind the same way he protect his house. You wouldn't leave your front door standing wide open for random strangers to just walk through, would you? So why would you leave your attention completely unprotected, letting every algorithm designed to grab it just march right in? Here is what to do. Take 1 solid hour every single day and fast from any kind of input. No phone, no music, no background noise of any kind. When you first start, it's going to feel uncomfortable. Your brain is going to desperately want some kind of stimulation. That desperate wanting is actually proof that you become dependent on it. Push through the uncomfortable feeling until silence stops feeling like emptiness. That's the moment when you'll find again the deep parts of your own mind. Lesson 3. Feeling first, then logic. Zeno, who started the whole Stoic philosophy, never told people to live without emotions. What he taught was mastery over your emotions. He taught that your reasoning should guide what you feel, not wipe it out completely. Overthinking is the result of too much logical thinking. It is actually emotion wearing a disguise. It is worry pretending it is planning ahead. It is fear dressing itself up as being careful. You think being logical when you replay that argument in your head for the 10th time, but you're not actually solving anything. You're trying to soothe your hurt pride. You think you redoing research when you spend 3 hours comparing different options, but what you really doing is being scared to just pick one. Your reasoning should work for you, not trap you. When your mind starts spinning in circles, stop and ask yourself, what am I actually feeling underneath this thought? Is it fear? Is it shame? Is it feeling uncertain about something? Name whatever it is, and your logical thinking will come back online. Because trying to use logic without being aware of what you feeling is just blindness dressed up to look like control. Zeno said that a person conquers the world by first conquering themselves. You don't need to figure out the entire universe. You just need to figure out how you reacting to it. Lesson 4. Stop fighting against what it's already real. Marcus wrote something crucial. You have power over your own mind, but not over what happens outside of you. He had to remind himself of this truth every single day, even while dealing with wars, deadly plagues, and people betraying him. He couldn't change the storm happening around him. He could only change how he stood in the middle of it. We do this all the time too. We fight against reality constantly. We replay conversations that are already over and done with. We try to edit things that happened in the past, rewriting them over and over in our heads. We fight against things that have already happened as if thinking about them hard enough could somehow change history. But every single moment you spend fighting against what is you stealing from acceptance. Accepting things to being passive about life. It's seeing things clearly. It's saying, this is what is actually happening right now. So what's the best move I can make next? Overthinking feeds on fantasy, on trying to control things that have already happened and already exist. Peace starts where fantasy stops. So the next time your mind starts replaying something that happened, stop yourself and say quietly, this already happened. It is done. Then come back to what you actually still have power over. Your next breath, your next choice. Reality wins every single time. Wise people don't waste energy fighting it. They learn to move with it instead. Lesson 5. Fear shows up in different disguises. Epictetus said something important. It's not the actual things happening to us that mess us up, but rather our opinions and judgments about those things. The modern world we live in runs on opinions. We're constantly judging things, constantly reacting to things. Here is the tricky part. Fear doesn't always announce itself as fear. A lot of times it disguises itself as perfectionism, as overanalyzing everything, as planning things endlessly without ever starting. You tell yourself you're being careful and cautious, but what's really happening? You're scared. You're scared of failing at something. You're scared of people seeing you try. You're scared to even begin. Seneca recognized this exact same kind of freeze up in people. He wrote that we end up suffering way more in our imaginations than we ever do in actual reality. Overthinking is basically your imagination turning into your enemy. You picture people rejecting you before you even try. You imagine disasters happening before anything has even gone wrong. You create 10 different possible futures in your head, and not a single one of them actually exists or will exist. Being brave doesn't make fear disappear. Being brave means you move forward even with the fear right there next to you. Take action first. The clear thinking will show up after. Taking action is the cure for mental paralysis. The Stoic philosophers didn't sit around waiting until they felt confident. They built their confidence by moving, by doing things. That is how it works. Lesson 6. You can de-scroll your way to feeling peaceful. Epictetus wrote something powerful once. Lead me, Zeus, and you too, destiny, to wherever your decrees have assigned me. What he believed was that peace comes from accepting things, not from escaping them. In this world, we escape from things more than any group of people who have ever lived before us. The second discomfort shows up, we grab our phone. When silence happens, we immediately fill it up with sound. You rechecking your phone before you even finish processing the last thought you had. You chase after distractions not because you actually need them, but because being still now feels dangerous somehow. Overthinking and overstimulation are like brother and sister. One lives inside your mind, the other lives in your hand holding the phone. Both of them whisper the exact same lie to you. That peace is just one more scroll away. But real calmness gets built in those moments when you resist that pull to grab your phone. The first few seconds without any noise will feel almost impossible to handle. But then, slowly, your awareness starts expanding outward. You start hearing the low hum of the room around you, your own breathing, the small, steady rhythm of life that all the technology usually drowns out completely. That right there is your mind beginning to heal itself. Epictetus taught that harmony inside yourself happens when you stop fighting against the present moment. So put your phone down. Let the silence feel uncomfortable until it starts feeling familiar again. That is where real stillness begins. Lesson 7. Comparing yourself to others ruins right now. Marcus Aurelius wrote this. The opinions of 10,000 men have no value if not one of them knows the actual truth. Zeno taught that a wise person lives in harmony with nature, not according to other people's opinions. But modern life, it is completely built on comparison. You measure how much you worth against strangers you're never going to meet in real life. You scroll through people's highlight reels and you mistake those for their actual reality. Every image you see quietly sends you a message. You're falling behind. But here is the thing about comparison. It is fake. It's an illusion. You rejudging your entire story with all its messy parts against someone else's carefully edited single moment. Nobody posts about being bored. Nobody posts about feeling lonely or having doubts about everything. When you compare yourself to others, you trade away gratitude and pick up envy instead. You start chasing after shadows instead of building something real and solid. The Stoics had a name for this. They called it the sickness of externals. They trained their minds to look inward for validation instead of outward. The question shouldn't be, how do I look to other people? The question should be, what kind of person am I turning into? Your progress isn't measured in likes. It is measured in how composed you can stay. It is not measured in applause. It is measured in how much peace you have. When envy starts whispering to you, remember this. What you seeing on the screen isn't to someone is life. It is their performance. The real competition is between you right now and the person you were yesterday. Lesson 8. Self-doubt is your mind. It's a warning system. When your mind fills with doubt, it is not always a betrayal of who you are. Sometimes it is actually a signal trying to tell you something. Epictetus taught that a mind that hasn't been trained properly swings back and forth between thinking too highly of itself and feeling completely defeated. One day you are certain about everything. The next day you feel crushed. Doubt is a normal part of growing, but becoming obsessed with that doubt, that is decay. That is rotting from the inside. In this world, we've been given it a name, imposter syndrome. You accomplish something real and you still feel like you deserve it. You start something new and immediately you hear that whisper in your head. Who am I to do this? Who do I think I am? But the Stoics would tell you this. Your identity gets shaped by what you do repeatedly, not by getting recognition from others. You become a confident person by acting like one, not by waiting until you feel ready. Every single time you take action, even though you have doubts, you reteaching your nervous system something new. You reteaching it. I survived this. I made it through. Confidence isn't about not having any fear. Confidence is the memory of having survived things before. Epictetus said that no person is truly free unless they have mastery over themselves. When that voice of doubt starts getting loud, you respond with discipline, not by arguing with it. Taking action answers fear way louder than any positive affirmation ever will. Lesson 9. Control what you can. Let go of what you can. This is the backbone, the foundation of Stoicism. Zeno framed it as the line between fate and choice, between what is already decided and what you can actually decide. Marcus Aurelius lived this idea every single day while carrying the enormous weight of ruling an empire. The modern mind makes a mistake. It confuses being aware of something with having control over it. We monitor every single metric we can think of. Followers on social media, our finances, our health stats, everything. We monitor and track until all that watchfulness transforms into anxiety. You don't to gain security by controlling more things. What actually happens is you lose your peace while chasing that control. The Stoic question is really simple. Is this thing within my control? Yes or no? If the answer is yes, then act with clear thinking. If the answer is no, then pull your emotions back from it. Half of all overthinking dies right there at that first boundary line. You cannot control what other people think about you. You cannot control the algorithm that decides what shows up on your feed. You cannot control the weather or what is going to happen in the next 10 years. You can control how much effort you put in. You can control your honesty. You can control your attitude toward things. That is the entire kingdom you have been given to rule. Guard it well. Peace starts showing up where obsession stops. Lesson 10. Being too comfortable is actually falling apart in disguise. Seneca gave us a warning. When life gets too soft, it weakens your spirit. We make a common mistake. We think comfort equals happiness. You put in hard work. You finally reach a place where things feel stable. And then little by little, your sharpness fades away. Being too comfortable becomes the quiet assassin of having a real purpose. The comfort we have today looks different than it used to. It's binge watching entire seasons in one sitting. It's having food delivered to your door with a few taps. It's constant convenience everywhere you turn. You never have to wait for anything anymore. You never have to struggle with something or just sit there feeling uncomfortable. And yet somehow, anxiety goes up instead of down. Why does that happen? It happens because strength comes from friction, from resistance. When you don't have any friction in your life, your mind becomes fragile. The Stoics actually practiced voluntary hardship on purpose. They took cold baths. They ate simple meals. They slept on hard floors. They weren't doing this as punishment. They were doing it as preparation. They understood something crucial. Comfort creates a fear of losing that comfort. Here, this is what you should do. Step into small discomforts on purpose every single day. Do that thing you've been putting off. Take a walk when you do rather just scroll through your phone. Speak the truth when staying quiet feels safer. Every single act of discipline sharpens your edge. Seneca said to set aside certain days where you live on the most basic and cheapest food you can get. Why? Because when you prove to yourself that you can handle having less, you stop being afraid of losing more. Lesson 11. Your surroundings are teaching you without you noticing. Clindas compared the human mind to clay. It takes on the shape of whatever is holding it. Marcus Aurelius wrote that your soul gets colored by whatever thoughts you think regularly. In this world, that coloring happens digitally. It's your social media feed. It's the people you spend time with. It's the content you consume. All of it is training your emotions without you even realizing it. If you spend hours and hours taking in outrage and anger, you're going to feel angry even when there's no real reason to be. If you fill up your life with cynical content, hope starts looking like something foolish and naive. You're constantly absorbing things from your environment. And whatever you absorb, that is what you become. So choose what shapes you. Be as careful about who you surround yourself with as you are about what you eat. Read things that expand your mind, not things that just tell you already right about everything. Follow people who remind you of the better version of yourself you want to be. You cannot stay calm when you're sitting in a room that is designed to make you upset. Peace requires architecture. It requires intentionally designing what surrounds your mind. Your attention is like soil in a garden. Plant wisely. Lesson 12. Memento mori. Remember that we're going to die. This final lesson is the oldest one and also the most freeing. Seneca called death the one debt that no person can avoid paying. Epictetus reminded his students of this. You could leave life right now. Let that fact determine what you do, what you say, and what you think. Marcus Aurelius wrote these exact same words in his personal journal every single night. He wasn't doing it out of dread. He was doing it for focus. Modern life forgets about this completely. We act like we have infinite time, and by doing that, we waste it. We argue with strangers online. We worry about opinions from people who want to matter tomorrow. We plan endlessly for some future that never actually shows up. But when you truly remember that you were going to die, your priorities rearrange themselves automatically. All the petty thoughts drop away. What actually matters comes into sharp focus. You speak more truth. You love more deeply. You act more freely. That awareness of death isn't dark or depressing. It's the ultimate clarity you can have. Memento mori. Remember death so that you can finally actually live. If you are still here, still listening closely and carefully, your discipline is already rare. Most people give up on searching for stillness after just a few minutes. But you stayed. That means you already carry inside you the seed of control that the Stoics talked about. You have the power to keep going when distractions are calling out to you. Take a slow breath in right now. Hold it for a moment. Now let it out. That right there is your proof. You can direct your attention whenever you decide to. You are not locked up as a prisoner of your thoughts. You are the ruler of them, and you relearning how to reign again. Overthinking doesn't mean you think too much. It means you think without any direction. Your mind is supposed to serve you, not torture you. When you train it properly, it becomes your ally and your friend. When you ignore it, it becomes your enemy. Epictetus gave his students one clear rule. Don't explain your philosophy to people. Embody it. Live it. Don't just listen to these lessons we've gone through. Actually live them out. When anxiety starts rising up inside you, remember lesson 1. You are not your thoughts. When your phone is calling for your attention, remember lesson 6. You cannot scroll your way to peace. When you are afraid of what is coming in the future, recall lesson 9. Focus only on what is actually within your control. And when life starts feeling meaningless and empty, remember lesson 12. Your time is limited, which is exactly what makes it sacred and precious. If the work we're doing here brings value to your life, please hit the like button on this video and subscribe to the channel. It helps us keep sharing messages that actually matter to people. And if this really strikes home for you, leave a comment below with just these words. I will stop. That single phrase is your commitment to stop feeding your doubts, to stop drowning in all the noise around you, to stop living half aware and half asleep. Because you are not your fear. You are not your social media feed. You are not the total sum of other people's opinions about you. You are the still point right in the center of the storm. You are the mind that chooses to stay calm when the entire world is demanding chaos from you. Live awake. Live with clear vision. Live deliberately and on purpose.